Oh yeah, welcome back to another episode of Captain Coleslaw Outdoors with yours truly. And it is November 24th, and deer season has kind of came to a close in regards to the archery side of things. The rut's still going on, but a lot of the does have already been bred. These deer are starting to get kind of tired, kind of exhausted. We've got plenty of bucks, including some new big ones showing up on trail camera. But the deer rut in general is starting to slow. We kind of messed up our chances on that buck in archery season, and it's kind of been slow going since. Well, today we're doing something a little different. We're going to try to salvage this early season fall before the snow and winter hits by doing a little small game squirrel sniping with the 17 HMR and a little bit of long distance small game hunting. So the thing about squirrel hunting is it requires a lot of the same understanding of the landscape. You need to find deer in order to find squirrels. And you've seen squirrels in all the sub-clips of all the deer hunting stuff we've done. There's a lot of them. They're not all that uncommon. It's just a matter of making a good shot on a small target in order to get an ethical kill. And they're pretty tasty too. Now the way that we're gonna find these squirrels is we gotta understand what they're feeding on, which in this area is oak. Now, Pennsylvania boasts a bunch of different squirrel species that we could potentially shoot, including gray squirrels, primarily acorn eaters, eastern fox squirrels, which are more of a large nut, walnut, hickory nut forager, and then red squirrels, which are a pine nut feeder. So in this landscape, all three of those squirrels exist, and they're all shootable. We're allowed 6 squirrels, so we can shoot a combination of 6 of any of those species. But what we're going to target today are the grays. So if we can get a limit of 6 squirrel today, bouncing around between some spots and sniping them off with a little rimfire rifle, we should be able to have some good eating. But the way that we find these squirrels across these brown, barren fields and pastures is we're looking for hillsides where we can still see trees that have leaves on them. Because the last trees of these deciduous woodland forests of Pennsylvania to lose their leaves are the oaks. And oaks produce acorns. So across a barren landscape, if we can find large swaths of red-leaved trees in late November, we're going to find oaks and we're going to find acorns. Where there's acorns, there's squirrels. Now one of the things about that is, though, if we can find across a barren hillside where there's a few mother oaks, in other words, really large trees kind of sitting alone from other oak trees in the area, that's going to give us a more finite target when it comes to where we want to try to sit and snipe these squirrels off. Now, with my 17, we will have the ability to shoot squirrels up to 90 yards away with no problem. Because we're going to get on a point where we can kind of see an entire oak bottom. And in that bottom where those oak trees are, we're hoping that there's a plethora of squirrel. And we're going to see if we can't salvage this late November small game opportunity as we segue a fairly successful archery season with hopefully a really successful rifle for deer. This is a little segue, tie those things together. So one of the things about hunting with firearms such as these rimfire rifles is you have to wear orange to make sure you're visible to other hunters, because you're using a high power weapon and you do not want to get shot by another high power weapon through the woods by some bozo who thinks you're an animal. So the orange is for your safety, and I 100% back that. One of the things I don't like about orange, though, is it makes you very obvious, and this is like a solid color. So even if animals are colorblind, they can see the solid pattern. So that's part of the reason why I like to hunt with the 17 and not a shotgun for these squirrels, is I don't have to get too close to them. So right down in this basin in front of us here, there's squirrels that are roosted in the oak trees that you can see, and they're literally coming right down to the bottom of the oak tree and digging little holes to plant acorns right there. Now a single nest of gray squirrel can hold up to 10 squirrels. Most of them only have like between 2 and 5. We only need 6 for a limit, and we're going to stake out about 80 yards above where the squirrels are coming down to the ground to feed. So we don't want to get real close to these squirrels and where they're going to be. We want to back off and not disturb them any more than we have to. The good news is we will hear the squirrels coming. They will sound like buffalo coming through the woods because of the crunchy leaves on the ground. So that's kind of the basis of what we're going to do. Squirrel hunting is a lot of fun, and we're going to get into some shooting. We just got to be patient. Patience and perseverance. We know the squirrels are going to be in here. So we're going to get down into this bottom another 15, 20 yards. We're going to plant down on one of these big cherry trees or shagbark hickories like this, and we're going to watch the oaks down below and snipe some squirrels off so we can have a little squirrel meal this Thanksgiving season. That was hard to get a freaking squirrel in the camera and the scope simultaneously. There's a lot of squirrel moving around these bottoms. See if we can't get a few more now that we got one under our belts. The more the merrier. You know what maybe we can get to make us a nice little squirrel meal. Oh yeah, we're back, and we've actually harvested 6 or 7 more squirrels since those hunts that you watched us shoot some of those squirrels during that intermission between archery and rifle deer season. Well, we've got ourselves some hind quarters and front quarters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we are actually going to turn these squirrel legs into basically chicken wings. So I'm going to show you a quick recipe how to do that. We'll do a quick taste test and we'll see if it was worth it. So once you actually have these squirrel legs cut, it's actually a really dumb, simple recipe. I'm going to show you what I like to do. First thing I like to do is I like to take all my legs and I like to throw them in a plastic baggie just like you see here. Nothing special, just cut them off the body once you have the squirrel skin. Put them in a bag just like that. Next thing you do, crack a couple eggs, whisk them up, mix them into the squirrel bag, and then mix that up so there's egg yolk all over our squirrel. Obviously, the more squirrels that you are preparing, you might want to get a little bit more eggs, maybe 1 or 2 pops, but you don't need a ton because this is just to coat them. This isn't necessarily for flavor. Once you to whisk them. Dump them into the bag here. Seal the bag up. Just kind of mix that up. So our squirrel meat has egg stickiness all over it. Then, once you have that done, I've got a mixture here of mainly flour with a little bit of salt, pepper, and baking soda that I've mixed up. And I'm just going to dump this into the bag with the squirrels, with the egg, and this will stick to the squirrel itself. So let's just dump that in like so. Seal the bag up. Try to get air out of it, that way it's easier to bend and mix. Then mix up the squirrels and the egg with that. So next thing you want to do, make sure you have a frying pan with some vegetable oil or canola oil in it. Put it on medium heat, get it hot, and then we're just going to throw the legs in, and we're going to let them sit there for probably, give or take, a minute and a half, 2 sides, until they are golden, brown, and crunchy. So let's do that. That's exactly what they should look like right there. Throw them into the frying pan. Once they start turning golden, I use a fork, and I am going to flip these bad boys over so they're cooked on both sides. These are at a good point now where I'm pretty sure they are cooked thoroughly, so now I'm going to take them and I'm going to put them on a paper towel and blot them dry. And once the oil is blotted off of them, you can basically serve these as once they're cool enough to eat. You can do whatever you want with these. I like to put them over waffles with maple syrup. You can eat them with ketchup. But at the end of the day, tastes like chicken. Shoot straight, stay strong. This is the reason. That's it. I'm out.